Hey, this is Africa back with you today with a great question that literally right before I went live came through on Messenger. I had a message, we'll call her Dee. So Dee wrote, "Hey Africa, thanks for the message. So I could use some tech advice." And couldn't we all use a little tech advice? I'm trying to figure out what I really need to pay to get started. More importantly, how to keep costs down. That's so important when you're starting up a new thing to kind of minimize those startup costs, especially that recurring monthly outlay if possible. And so she's asking me about several products. I mean, there's a multitude of questions. I'm pretty excited to get into this with you. And I'm just going to say at the beginning, you know, if you're in Tech for Woo, if you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. You should join. These are kinds of questions I will answer all the time for those that are in Tech for Woo, and give them really individualized feedback, a roadmap, as it were, so that you know exactly what you need to do and at what stage. So I'm basing my answers off of the bit of interaction I've had with her so far, and maybe you find yourself in this place too. All right, so the first question she's saying is, what should she use for email, right? What kind of email client should she use that does auto responders and probably a few other bells and whistles too? So should she use ConvertKit? Should she use MailChimp? You know, all these different products have different costs. And when you're just starting out, and I guess this is what I should say, no matter which system you use, chances are very good, like 99.9% good, that when you decide to upgrade to a system that has more bells and whistles, you'll just be able to export that information from one system to another. Right, so if you started out on MailChimp today, and I'm sorry because I don't know the exact prices, but at one point MailChimp was like $10 a month, right? So that you can do auto responders and whatnot. So if you started out on MailChimp today at $10 a month, and let's say 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, you want to move over to an Infusionsoft and pay $300 a month because of some of the other things that Infusionsoft does, you would be able to do that. It's just as simple as exporting and then importing that list into Infusionsoft. Now, do I recommend either one of those? Not really, no. But I want to give you an example because I know so many people in the industry start off in MailChimp, and I think MailChimp, if you start off there, you can use it for quite a while, to be perfectly honest. They've done a lot of things to get way more sophisticated than when I first started off in the industry. But I started off using MailChimp too. It's just a place to go. It's awesome. Right now, I use ActiveCampaign because I know it can grow with me. Now, at one point, I used Entreport, which again is about the same kind of cost range as Infusionsoft. It might be a little cheaper or a little bit more expensive. Those things bounce around. But right now, I use ActiveCampaign because it really gives me all the email automation capabilities, integrations that I need that you would normally get with like Entreport or Infusionsoft, which I think is now called Keep. So that is where I am on that. But if you need to, I think ActiveCampaign, I don't know what their lowest tier is anymore. I want to say maybe it's $10 too. I'm not sure. You get, if it is $10, I think you get way more out of it for sophistication of what you can do than MailChimp, but that's my personal opinion. All right. So check it out. That would be, I would say, definitely MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, depending on which is going to work best for what you do. Okay, so the next question. Okay, so if I'm adding this up right, I should start like a little, so I should see here, we got email, and I'm thinking you could spend maybe $10 a month and get that covered. You see the $10, not the email. Sorry. Let me see if I can push it more that way. Look at that. You're going to get all sorts of stuff. Okay, so email at $10 a month. Okay, what's the next question? What to do for landing pages? And so she's listing off all these different landing page services, which is great, by the way, whether you're using lead pages. I think she mentioned Landly. There's all sorts of them out there. They're all wonderful to use. But If you already have a WordPress site, you don't need to have a separate landing page deal going, right? You can knock that cost out completely. You can do all your own landing pages. You know, I go extensively in on this on Tech for Woo. It's not that hard to set up. It's just really knowing that there's templates out there that you can use. They're with every pretty much, you know, website kind of plugin builder, etc. that's out there anyway. And a lot of those are either free or they're no charge at all. And I use, by the way, I had one that I used before, and now I've just fallen absolutely in love with Elementor. And so, Elementor. And it's actually not even a monthly cost. It's free for the base version. I think they have a pro version. It might be like 40 or 50 bucks one time. So that's, you know, a way to go for a page builder. There's no reoccurring, so we should say monthly. Monthly, one time. You can tell I'm doing this on the fly, right? So, and then I think this, we're going to say $50 since I can't quite remember the cost, right? But that's where we are so far. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so what is the next question? I want to create online courses. Awesome. I love online courses. I literally was, that was going to be what I was going to talk about until this question. This instant message came up. Was building online courses. I love it. It's basically just a membership site where you have content that can be what quote drip fed. So when they talk about drip fed, that means that you're going to get some information and then maybe 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 14 days, whatever that number is, then they're going to get the next piece of information. It'll be opened up and delivered, right? That's called drip feeding information. And honestly, as an educator, I know that's a lot easier for people to comprehend than getting it all at once. That's what I would say as an educator, right? However, we are now a nation of bingers. So sometimes people just have this they have this weekend that's free and they can binge through all the material, and having to wait all those weeks becomes hard. That's a decision that you get to make as a creator, as that person's educator, as their leader, right? As their mentor, guide, coach. You get to make the decision whether you're going to allow them to binge it all or whether you're going to drip it out over time. Now, there's another piece that comes into play when we're talking about setting up courses. Are you just delivering information like PDFs and videos, etc.? Are you giving grades? Like, are you putting quizzes in there and all that kind of stuff? Those are two totally different things, right? Are you trying to elicit feedback at every point? Like, what is it you're trying to do? And on this case, I don't know what she's trying to do. But what I'm trying to say is, one, you could do with a membership site, the first one, whether it's just stripping out information or letting them binge it all at once. One, you're going to need a learning management system that's going to provide that information and show them where they are in the course and allow you to do quizzes and feedback and all this kind of stuff. So it kind of depends on what you're setting up, okay? Either way, I'm going to give you my shortcut for doing this. It's called WP Spring, and it is $15 a month. And you're like, what the heck is that? It's just a website, to be perfectly honest. But if you're tech savvy, right, pretty tech savvy, don't need tons of support, or you're in a program like Tech for Woo where you're going to get the support, you can go to WP Spring, $15 a month. You can grab a learning management system. You can grab a membership site plugin as well. And no matter which one you grab, or both, there's a lot of choices in there. It's $15 a month. So that kind of lowers your cost. So where are we at? 25 bucks here and one time out of $50. I think we're doing good so far. Yeah. Okay, so what's that next one? Webinars. Okay, so for webinars, the question is, do you do them free? Do you do them paid? What are your options? There's a lot of options for doing webinars. I've seen a lot of people just literally go to doing live streams just like this in a private group, and they do that for the webinar. They have people sign up, and then they send them access to the Facebook group that they're going to do the webinar in. So that's one option. That's free. You can also do something a little bit more structured, so it's easier to bring people on with you, which would be something like Zoom. Zoom webinar, I think it's between, I think the base of what you have to buy, which is $10 a month. I don't know, I might be grandfathered in at that rate. And then adding on the webinar, which is $40 a month, so you're looking like $50. I think I have tax on that, so it comes out to like $53, $54 a month that I pay for that feature. What's nice about doing Zoom is you can even flip it over to Facebook Live and bring people on with you that way, right? So it's real time, and you can work with real people and bring them on and coach them, etc. So it kind of depends on what you're wanting to do with that webinar. How much interaction do you want, and what kind of interaction do you want? If you just want them to be able to see what you're saying and then comment, and then you can engage in the comments. By the way, feel free to comment during this if you want to. I'm happy to look and answer questions. But if you just want people to comment, great. You can just do a live, do that in a Facebook group. You can do, I think she mentioned Expertise TV. There's a lot of different ones out there if you don't want that kind of interaction. But if you want to put some quote in the hot seat and really engage with them, then you're looking at some paid options. And I think Zoom's one of the better ones out there for that. And again, by the time all that's said and done, that might be like $55. But for right now, we can look at the free options, right? So let's see, webinar. We've talked about some free stuff. Ooh, I'm going to run out of space here. Okay, so the next question she asked, what about a shopping cart? Right, so what is a shopping cart anyway? Well, when you're selling stuff online, you have to be able to receive payment, right? Some way, somehow. And, you know, you don't want people sending you a check in the mail. It's hard to exchange cash when you're living in other countries. So usually you have to be able to accept payment in the form of a credit card or something like that online. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. PayPal is one way that people know about. That's pretty easy. Easy sign up for PayPal or for Stripe for that matter. And you can send them a link and they can pay, and bada bing, bada boom, you got some money. But that does nothing for automation, right? Which is why you have shopping carts. So a shopping cart typically is hooked up to your website, maybe the products that you're selling, to your email system, etc., and all of them taught together so people get an email and they get access to the product, whether it's your course that you're selling, or maybe it's a physical product, so they're going to get an email with information on when it's being shipped, what have you. So one of the better ones that I found that I use is WooCommerce. It's a plugin for WordPress for self-hosted sites. And the base WooCommerce is free. Now there's a lot of other things you can do with WooCommerce. It integrates with God knows everything. And there's a cost for all those different integrations. But again, I'm telling you my secrets right now. WP Spring has just about every single WooCommerce integration in their system, in their own repository, that you can get for that simple membership fee of $15 a month. So I'm still at $25, and I've got a shopping cart. I've got a product store, all that stuff. So what else did she want to do on there? Yeah, physical products, coaching products and services. It allows you to do affiliates through, I think it's Affiliates Pro. There's a couple other affiliate programs. Again, all downloadable in there. We are still at that $25. Okay, so one-time buy versus subscriptions, recurring payments, all that good stuff. Now, one caveat I would say about taking money online, it's great to start out with PayPal or with Stripe. If PayPal, and you can get the PayPal credit, right, added so that people can opt to pay over time, but you get paid all the way up front, and they get 0% interest for like 6 months. That's pretty awesome. But as you grow, you're going to realize that, oh, I go into this in another video, so I'm not going to go on that tirade about risk pools versus a true merchant account. Go check out my other video. I have a video on it. So I won't go on that tirade right now. Let's go to the next part of this question, which is, oh, okay, I think we're done. Weighing the options, minimizing having 20 million platforms, which of course no one wants. So my overall suggestion would be pick whichever email system you want. I love ActiveCampaign and therefore advocate for ActiveCampaign. Grab Elementor. For the pro, it's a one-time charge of like 50 bucks. You already have a self-hosted WordPress, so that's good enough there. And then go into WP Spring. Grab all the other pieces that you're going to need depending on if you're setting up a true course with grades and whatnot, or a membership site. And if you want to know more about that distinction, that might be another video. And then for the webinar, that's your option on how you want to do it depending on the feedback you want. So this number can be anywhere from 0 to like maybe about 50 bucks, right? Depending on the kind of interaction you're wanting to do your webinar, and a few other bells and whistles, right? So again, not bad. We're at somewhere between $25 and $75 there, and then a one-time out-of-pocket of 50 bucks. All right, so I hope that helps you a lot. The tech startup costs for coaches and people who really are going out there to help, right? My coaches, my healers, my light workers, that's you guys. All right, and if you have any other questions, please hit me up in the comments. And of course, I would love for you to check out Tech for Woo, because it answers all of these, along with how do I handle building that website on WordPress? All of that stuff is in there. Onward out to different types of marketing and everything else. All things tech. All right, I love you guys. Peace, joy, love to you. Bye.